Well, hello again. I've got another Sudoku here today, but not what you might think, because it's not an Sudoku, but it is a Pseudoku. It's a Sudoku. So it's not actually a Sudoku, but it looks kind of like a Sudoku. So this is actually a normal two-star battle. So we need to put 2 stars in each row, column, and region. But the regions are 3 by 3 boxes shaped like your normal Sudoku grid. And then this has an additional rule of we have these cages, and adjacent cages cannot have the same number of stars. So, if this cage here had 1 star in it, this one couldn't then have 1 star in it. It could have 0 or 2 or something. So, that's all the rules. This is by BenceJoful, by the way, which I'm hoping is the correct way to pronounce that. I believe there are a few puzzles with this rule set that BenceJoful has created. Um, I'm going to try this one. It just jumped out at me. I thought it was a cool idea. I like Star Battle. I like Sudoku. Neat idea. Had to try it. So, link in the description as usual. I'm going to give it a try now, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I think box one looks like a good place to start. So we know there's 2 stars in box one. We know they can't have one star apiece. So one of them has to have 2 stars and one of them has to have 0. Now, this one could have 2 if it was like that. So I'm not sure which one has 2. Oh, but one thing I can see though is so if this is the one with 2, they have to be in opposite ends like that, right? And put an X in the middle. But similarly, this top one, if it has 2 stars in it, they're gonna have to be on opposite sides like that with dominoes. Because if you put a star in the middle here, it rules out the rest of the box. So actually, these three are not stars no matter what. But I don't know which of the cages has 2 and which has 0. Um, but we know one is 0 and one is 2. So what can this cage have? It can't have 0, it can't have 2, and it obviously can't have more than 2. So it's got to have 1. And if there's 1 star in here, there's 1 star in this 3 cell region right here. The left half of this box has to have 1. And this cage can't only have 1 because there's 1 in the cage connected to it. So it actually has to have 2. So they're going to have to be like that. And then this one, since there's 1 on one side of this and 1 on the other side, they're going to have to be opposite corners. But the one, that means there's 1 in this last cage as well. So these are 1, 2, 1 going across here. And since we know that there's these 2 dominoes here in this cage, but we know they have to be kind of opposite corners. So that means there's 1 in one of these 2. So we can put an X there and an X there the same way. And right, and since we have this domino here, we know there's a star in row 3 in that spot. So therefore we can't now put 2 stars in row 3 over here. So this has to be the 0 cage. This one has to be the 2 cage. We get some more X's. 3, 4. Yeah, so not sure what else we can do up there yet. Oh, I guess we can do this, right? The domino gives us a couple X's. Let's look down here at these cages. So here, there has to be 4 stars in boxes 4 and 7. We could put 2 down here. And then you could have 0 or 1 in here, and then, yeah. 1. But this could be 0. I mean, you could do 2 there. And have... No, you couldn't. You couldn't actually do that. You can't put 2 here because it's gonna rule out all of these because of the ones up here, and then you're gonna have to do that, but it's gonna clash. So you can't actually do 2 stars there. So that means you're going to have at least 1 star in this one down here. So this is going to be 1 or 2. Could we have 0 in here? I think at this point it looks like we could, because you could put 2 down here, 0, 2. No, again, you can't. You can't do that because 2 down here, it's the same problem. 2 down here rules out all of these. And now we can't put 0 here and 2 up here. So you actually can't do 2 and 0. Now we could do 2 and 1. Okay, if we can't put 2 here, we can't put 2 here. Is that true? No, we can't do 2 and 0. That's what we can't do. Two. I don't think this one can have 2 at all. Right? Isn't that what we just figured out? It would clear all of these out. Yeah, because this would have to have, because now you've used up 2 for box 7. Oh, but you could do this. You could do 2 with 1, couldn't you? Yeah. You can't do 2 with 0. This could have 2 if this has 1. And I think this one could still have 2 as long as they're not both in row 7. So again, this could have 2 as long as this has 1. So I think they're 2 and 1. They can't be 2 and 0. They have to be 2 and 1, one way or the other. I think. Which puts 1 up here. Okay. I think one of these has to have 2, though. Can they both have... No, they can't both have 1, obviously, because they can't have the same amount. And if this one had 0 and this had 1, everything would break. And if this had 1, yeah, they can't have 1 and 0. They can't have 1 and 1. And they can't have 2 and 0. So it has to be 2 and 1. So one of these has to have 2. Whichever one has 2, it's going to be like this or like this, which is going to use up column 1 and 3. So these two cannot be stars. No, sorry. Other way around. These cannot be stars. 1 and 3. Columns 1 and 3. So we get a domino there. Yeah, and then these two are gonna, one of them's gonna have 2 dominoes and one of them's gonna have a domino in the middle. Yes, that's correct. So I don't think... Okay, I'm gonna look over here now. So the most you can have in this cage is 1. The most you can have in this cage is 1. But they can't both be the same. So they can only be 0 or 1, and they have to be different. So 1 is 0 and 1 is 1, which gives us 1 in this, the bottom half of this box. It's we're kind of doing the same as up here, I think. So we can put that there. There has to be 1 in here. And again, it touches a 0 and a 1. We don't know which is which, but it touches a 0 and a 1. So it has to have 2. So there's got to be 1 down here, 1 up here. Yep, just the same thing as up here because they're going to be opposite corners. And now we've got this one, this domino here, and we know there's 1 in column 7 up here. So we can fill in some X's, and now we know which of these is 0 and the 1. And we know there's 1 in row 6 here in this cage. So there has to be 1 in this square up here. 1, 2. So in rows 4 and 5, we have 2 stars marked here. There has to be 2 in the middle. 1's in this square here, so the other one has to go there. which now makes that a domino. And that finishes off box 5 then with the 2 stars there. So there's 1 in row 6 over here, so there has to be 1 in row 6 over here, which puts an X there, which gives us a star there. Now, so remember, there's either 2 dominoes in here or 1 domino. But I don't think we know which it is yet, because you could put the star there in the middle, because we know there has to be 1 in row 6 here. Could go there, or it could be, you know, opposite sides like that. So 2, 1, 2, 3. There's 1 up here. Okay. 2, 2. What else can we do here? Oh, the star, that star there. I didn't finish filling in my X's. It gives us a star right there, which gives us another X. And since these have to be opposite corners, we know it goes like that, which gives us a domino, makes this X's. And now we've got a domino and a star in row 4, so that's an X and that's a star, which gives us another X. Now there's a domino there. There has to be a star in one of these 3, so we can put an X there. So there's either one in the middle there, or there's ones in opposite corners here. I'm not quite sure which yet. Okay, so right, in rows 8 and 9, we've got 1 star over here. If we only have 1 in this cage, it's going to have to be down here, because if this is the 1, then you've got opposite corners here, which forces it down in there. But now, how do you put 2 stars in here without it being 2 in the bottom row? You can't. So this has to be the 2, this has to be the 1. 2, 3, there's going to be 1 in here, 1 in there. Something like that. And now... now we should just have normal star battle to finish it off. Okay, right up here. 1, 2, 3, 4 stars, which gives us an X there. Gives us a domino there. And now... Oh, right. Okay, right up here. We've got opposite corners. So there's 1 in column 6. We've got a star in column 6 there. This is an X. That's a star. Okay. Column 8. So we need 2 stars. We've got 3 options here, right? If we put the 2 stars in this one, it breaks this cage here, because these have to be opposite corners, and this rules out both of those options. So we can't do both of those, and therefore this has to be a star. And now we've finished off row 9. We get those. We finished off column 5. There's a domino here and a star, so that goes that way. And now the only place we can go to finish row 2 is right there. Now column 9 is done, which is going to give us all of that and there. And congratulations, your solution is correct. Hooray. All right. That was pretty cool. So that was Different Sums Sudoku by BenceJoful. Is a neat idea. So one thing with putting star battle in a Sudoku grid, I've done it before with some different things, not this same rule set. I've done it with some star battle sandwich stuff, and it's actually pretty limited with how you can fit a star battle in a Sudoku grid. You'll notice there's a lot of these, 2 stars kind of in the same row or column right next to each other. There's a few that are a little bit off, but they're all really close to each other. You don't get like in normal star battle when you have a bigger grid. Sometimes you get stars that are in weird positions. You tend to get in a Sudoku grid a lot of these kind of repeating pattern type things. Um, but it wasn't super easy to figure out anyways. Well, I didn't think it was. That was kind of neat how you had to kind of do some detective work with the cages, and then even once I knew, this is 2 or this is one of these is 2 and one of them's 0, we still didn't know which was which right away. We had to use that to get some information about something else, which then came back to what we had originally. So that was well designed. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that. I thought it was fun, and I'll be back again soon with another puzzle. Thanks. Bye.